Hello there. I'm continuing my series of analyzing and demonstrating the games I played on these tournaments. So now we are on Šolta. This is round 2. Round 1 I lost with this blunder in the last seconds against a much stronger opponent, and now here again I'm facing a stronger opponent. So you will see how this game went. Okay, so let's get to the game. My opponent opened the game with the move knight to f3. This is very flexible, it can go either way. I just played e6, hoping to go with maybe d5, just some familiar Queen's Gambit decline setup, and basically see what will happen. He played g3, and now this suggests me that he will probably play Catalan, and this will, in fact, he will play Catalan. This will transpose to Catalan, as you will see. And this is my third Catalan in these tournaments. I had two Catalans in split, and now this is third Catalan. So knight f3, bishop g2, normal developing moves, d5 now, castles, bishop e7. So you can see that this is my standard Queen's Gambit decline setup, waiting to see what will happen. d4, okay. I'm still not sure what he will do, so I castle, and c4. And now this is Catalan. And if you have seen my previous videos, you saw that I faced Catalan twice, and first time I didn't know what to do, then I looked it up, and now I know what to do in Catalan. And what to do in Catalan is to basically neutralize this bishop, to keep in mind that this dark square bishop is a problem piece for black, and to keep an eye on this c6 square, because well, in the first game I faced against Catalan, I paid the price for not looking at the c6 square. So the variation I decided to play is rather simple, and it's rather straightforward. So first I take the pawn, and now while he recaptures the pawn, I have some time to finish my development. So he played queen c2, and yeah, this is the plan how to neutralize this bishop, is to bring the bishop on c6, and now I'm countering his bishop. So not fianchetto, because it's very dangerous, because then your rook is under discard attack, but rather this way. Okay, so bishop to d7, he took the pawn, I play bishop to c6. Now if ever he moves this knight, I will just take the bishop. And this can be, I mean, in the second game with Catalan I took the knight at some point. It's also playable in some positions, but in fact you can keep the status quo forever. Knight c3, he's developing, I'm developing. Now my knight, well, obviously he cannot go here, so the next square for developing the knight is the knight to b6, and this will come with tempo. So he moved his queen just before this, also covering e4 square, so he has this this move pawn to e4, which I have to keep in mind. Rook to e8. So my long-term plan is to put rooks just in the center. So this is just a developing move. Rook to d1. This is very typical of Catalan. Just taking the d file. And now I was thinking that yeah, let me just see my notebook here. As usual, I analyze the game in the notebook with my board and pieces. So let me just see. Okay, the first move I had to think about, and which is a little bit dubious, is this next move, and it's bishop b4. So in this position I was thinking, first of all, I want to stop e4. So if I play bishop b4, this stops e4, because I have two attackers and he has two defenders. And now, for example, if he were to play e4, I can just take the knight, and then in the next move I can take the pawn. So this move, bishop e4, stops e4. This is important. Another thing is that now I can connect the rooks. I have free square for my queen, and I can connect the rooks. So these were two points of this move. And if you look at the engine, then this is actually the engine's second choice. First choice would be a6, I guess covering b5 in case this bishop goes away. Yeah, but the second choice is this. So yeah, this dubious move is in fact good, according to the engine. Okay, he developed his bishop, bishop to f4. Now I have to think about my worst place piece. So this is typical way of thinking when the opening is over or almost over the development. I still need to connect my rooks, but okay, it's almost over. So I need to see what is my worst placed piece here. So this piece is fine, this piece is fine, this piece is fine. All the pieces are doing something except this knight, who doesn't do anything, and he's also eyeing these squares who are taken. So the logical concern is to develop this knight. So I play knight to b6, and now this knight can easily come to the center. Rook a to c1. So you can see that he brings his rook on these two files. So the c file is now semi-open file, and another rook is here. Maybe he's looking for this break in the future. Queen to e7. Okay, what about this move? Yeah, the problem with this move is that I have written this later. Is that I take the square for the bishop. So this is one of the consequences of this move, which I didn't quite see. My intention was to connect rooks and then to bring the rook aligned with the queen. So I think the idea was correct, but yeah, this is the consequence. I was not sure. I mean, I didn't see this, and if I did see, maybe I would play queen to d7 rather here. Still not sure. Because I have to develop my queen in order to connect rooks and to bring this rook into game. So something along these lines should be played. Queen to e7, okay, and now he immediately saw that, okay, my bishop has no retreat square, so he played a3, now challenging my bishop, and now I can either give up my bishop pair, take the knight, or I can exchange this bishop for his bishop here. And I said in the beginning that this dark square bishop is a problem piece for black, so if I retreat, I'm just helping him to get rid of this problem piece. So this was a dilemma. I mean, if I go here, I just lose the bishop, so I don't have much choice. Either I will exchange bishop for the knight or bishop for the bishop. So I decided to offer the exchange bishop for a bishop. At least he will not end up having the bishop pair advantage. And here he made a mistake according to the engine, and yeah, according to me as well. I mean, I was happy to see this move. This was a knight to e5, and yeah, now he's just giving away this bishop, and you will also see that I have now some nice counterplay on these squares. So I took the bishop, of course. He took back with the king, and now I played c6. And the engine doesn't like this move, but I do. I still do, because you can see that this file is semi-open. So there is constant threat along these lines. Also this square, I mean, he is looking to make this break someday, maybe e4. So maybe e4 and then break or something like this. So yeah, it looks strange because this is usually played to counter this bishop. Now light square bishop is no longer here, but now I'm closing this file. This was important to me, and now I don't have to worry about c file, and this rook on c1 becomes kind of misplaced here once I played c6. So these are my reasons. Queen to f3. Okay, I guess he's fighting for this square. Knight b to d5, and now he played. Now I'm hitting the bishop, which can be recaptured by the queen, so his pawn structure will not be compromised. But now he played the knight to e4, and this was a mistake because now I can force him to take with the pawn, and you will now see why. First of all, I took the knight. He took the knight back, of course, and now I took the bishop. And you can see that now, if he takes with the queen, then his knight is pinned, and I can just win a piece by playing f6. And now he has to take with the pawn, and now his pawn structure is a little bit compromised. So this is why, just going back, this is why knight e4 was a mistake, because it allowed me to capture the bishop and force him to take with the pawn. So knight e4 takes the knight, and now you can see that there is this pin, and I have f6 if he takes with the queen. And you can notice that here I didn't, for example, here I didn't have this option. So if I took, he could take with the queen because I don't have f6. So it doesn't matter that this knight is pinned. He can just move the queen away the next move. But by moving this knight away, and now I have f6, and now he cannot take with the queen. So this was nice. Okay, small advantage. And now I'm bringing my other rook in the game, rook a to d8, and you can see that yeah, I was thinking here, should I put my rooks here in the center, since he has his rook on d and the c file. So I was asking myself these questions during the game and also in the analysis. So I was thinking maybe this would be more proper place to put my rooks. But in fact, no. In fact, this is a good move, rook a to d8. I realized later because the c file is closed, so his rook is misplaced, not mine. My rooks are doing well. They're just in the center, and everything is fine. He played rook to d3 here. Okay, so you'll see his intention. I was thinking that maybe he wants to double rooks and then make this break, but his intention was to launch the kingside attack. I'm not sure I consider this move in the game. This is what he will play next. So I played bishop to c6, just wanting to improve my bishop. You can see that my bishop here doesn't do much. He doesn't have any prospects on this diagonal, and bishop c6. Well, I can activate my bishop much easier. And now he played rook to h3, and suddenly he's threatening checkmate here. So I need to stop it. There are two ways to stop this. I mean, there are several ways, but two main lines. One is to play h6, blocking the rook. Another one would be to play g6, blocking this diagonal. And the most aggressive way, which is forcing and closes diagonal, is f5. And this is the move preferred by the engine, and I was considering about this move, and later on I decided on this. I was afraid of, there are some variations with sacrifices. So for example, if I played h6, he can think about maybe sacrificing, then bringing another rook here. Yeah. Also g6, he could bring another rook. And then there is this idea of sacrifice. So there are some ideas. I mean, some sacrifice could be in place later on. But with f5, I'm pretty much sure that there are no sacrifices which he can break my position. Okay, he retreated the queen e3, and now I played the queen to d6, attacking this pawn. Okay, and he played queen to f3. And now I was afraid to take this pawn, because I thought that this is a very strong move. But later on I looked with the engine, and actually it's not. So the good variation here, if I took the pawn, and let's say that he did play queen to h5. I mean, this is not a checkmate. No, oh, okay, this is checkmate. But this is checkmate only because the knight is covering f7. So the move here is just to take the knight. And now if he gives check, I can just go to f7. And that should be fine. I mean, he has to take back the piece, and then I could just play a move like this. So this pawn was, and here I would have the advantage like -3 or something. Okay, so winning advantage basically. So yeah, so taking the pawn in this position was a safe move, but I thought if I go here, how should I stop the checkmate here? If I play h6, he can bring the knight here. I didn't see that after this I can just take the knight and then there is no checkmate. So interesting combination. So anyway, I was afraid of the attack. I thought that yeah, he has some strong attacking moves here. Like he can bring another rook, so I wanted just to stop the attack. I was too scared. So how do you stop attack? You exchange queens. So this is what you do when you are afraid. So queen to d5, and now I'm forcing the queen exchange. He played e3, now covering this this pawn, and yeah, before I took the queen, I wanted to take this knight as well, because first of all, if I now take the queen, he can take back with the knight, and then this knight can be a problem. And second of all, you can see that this knight is very strong on the outpost. I don't have, by playing f5, I don't have the opportunity of playing f6 anymore, so I cannot chase this knight away in no way possible. So if I want to get rid of knight, I have to give up my bishop. So I took with my bishop, he took the pawn, and now I exchange queens. Still the question here is why? I mean, with this knight gone, he doesn't really have the attack. So Engine also thinks this is a mistake, and he thinks that just the queen to d7 will be better. His king is also kind of exposed and so on. But okay, I exchange queens. And now we are in the end game, and you will see that here in the end game I made the same mistakes I made in previous similar end games in the just few days ago in the tournament. So this is interesting because I noticed that I make the same mistakes all over again. Okay, so let's just briefly analyze this position. What does he have in the position? He has this semi-open file, and this is the only thing I have to worry about. If I don't allow him to break over the G file, then he has no counter chances. So I play the G5 here, and this is not a good move because I'm now inviting him to open the G file. And my king and my rooks are not ready to open G file. So if I wanted, let's say if I wanted to play G5, I should have played king to F7 first, and then bring up my rook behind. And then maybe even play moves like G6 and then double the rooks here. Maybe even that. I mean, the G file is crucial here. So by playing G5, I'm just weakening my G file, and my king is on G file. So it's not a good decision. It's not a proper understanding of the position here to play G5 in this position. And my opponent here played rook to G3, so he's immediately exploiting this this pin, and he's ready to double the rooks on the G file. I played H6, supporting the pawn, and he played H4. So you can see that he's now looking to open the G file. I played G4 check, and he brings his king closer to the center. Yes, this king is closed, it cannot move much, but not forever. I mean, F3 is coming and the G file will be opened. I played knight king to F7. This is okay, I'm just moving away from the pin. He played H5, now stopping my king, the advancement of my king. Because if not, my king could maybe go here, and this would be dangerous for him. Okay. And now it's the star move. I mean, the biggest mistake. And if you watch my previous video, you will see that I made this mistake already twice. So the idea behind this position is that G file is about to be opened. I need my rooks on the G file, and I need the support of G8 square. So I need my rook on the G file, I need my other rook to support the rook, maybe I will even double up on the G file. So I need to keep an eye on the G file, this is the most important thing in the position. And what did I do? Complete opposite. So I played rook to D5. And this is the worst move in the game. Definitely, I mean, not just in this game, but the worst move. So completely, I mean, okay. Like, I will have some threats here. But I will not have time to realize these threats. So my rook is now completely out of the game, and there is only one rook left to defend the G8, and you will see that this is not enough. And this is the reason why I lost this game, so this move. Which is just a consequence of misunderstanding the position. And I made this exact move, knight d5, in one game just a few rounds ago in split. And in the second game I made a very similar mistake. So instead of coordinating the rooks and fighting for the g file, which I can, because I mean, if I would play here rook to g8, I mean, after opening the file, I'm the master of the file. I can easily double. But okay. I mean, it's not okay, but hopefully I will stop making the same mistake. Okay, rook to d5. Terrible. f3, opening g file. G takes f3. You'll see that the game now is over. Although he did do some mistakes, so I took the pawn. He didn't took back because I will immediately seize the g file. Instead, he played rook c to g1. This is a little bit unprecise. He should have taken with the king. Then when I come, then he can bring the rook late here. This will be much stronger, and this will be over immediately. But okay, he doubled here, so he decided to ignore this pawn. So I pushed the pawn, and now he had to come back to guard the pawn. I think he just blundered. He just oversaw this f2 resource. Okay. And now what do I do? Again, the g file is the most important thing in the position. So the only logical move is rook to g8. Rook to g8, and now okay, at least I'm controlling the file. I mean, it's not ideal, because if he takes, I take, he takes, I go here, he can take g file. Yeah, I have time to counter this g file. So the only move which leaves me in the game here is rook to g8, and I will still be in the game, regardless of this mistake. But you know, this mistake is the result of the wrong mentality, and this wrong mentality is still present. So instead of immediately fighting for g file, so now when he moved his rook to f1, I should immediately seize the opportunity and fight for g file. Now I remembered to put my rook back to coordinate my rooks. But it's too late, because he has rook to g6. So the basic theory, the basic chess theory, what is the point of seizing the file? Why it is important to put the rook on the open file? Why do you want to control of the open file? For only one reason, because you want to penetrate your opponent's position. Penetrating means come to one of these three squares. So if he can penetrate my position, he achieved his goal. And this is exactly what he did. Rook to g6. And now he's hitting my pawn. So the best move here, according to the engine, was still to fight for the g file and let go of the pawn. But I wasn't so confident to do this, so I played rook to h8, defending the pawn, and you can now see the motif which comes over and over again in my games: active rook versus passive rook. So this rook is defensive, passive. This rook is attacking, active. Passive rook, active rook. And this happens over and over again in my games. So hopefully one day I will stop making these mistakes. Okay, rook takes f2 now. But what can I do now? I really don't have much play. Both of my rooks are now basically passive. So I'm now challenging the g file, but he's just doubling the rooks. So what can I do now? This rook is attacked twice. So I just took the rook. I thought this was forcing. I mean, I cannot keep this constellation forever. So okay, takes. Rook h7. I guess I want to do this one day. I'm not sure. But anyway, you can see that I cannot move any of the piece. Because if I move my king, then he'll just penetrate further. So I'm locked here. Well, I guess I could move something like king to f8, but yeah, he has done this check. I'm not sure. So basically, this is locked. So he played the b4. And now, yeah, he's ready to open my queen side. I played a6 here to stop a b5. The engine says b5 was better, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a lost position now. So a6, he played a4, b6, a5, b5. Now this is kind of locked now, but you can see that I have this weakness on c6, and he has the active rook. So what he does, of course, he will now attack this and make my rook even more passive. So he played rook to g2. I mean, what to do now? I have to defend this. So I played king to f8, rook to c2, hitting the pawn, and now I'm defending the pawn. Again, typical school example: active rook, passive rook. Who is better? White is better, much better, because he has active rook and I have passive rook. d5, and now he's just breaking the position. E takes d5, king takes f5 now, because well, he's deflecting, so this is typical deflection. I cannot take with this pawn, of course, because my rook is pinned, so I have to take with this pawn, and then this guy falls. This is nice deflection tactic. I'm bringing out my king, e6 check. I mean, it's just over. I cannot do anything. He's now bringing his rook over. I'm trying to break, I'm trying to do something, but he just check. King f8, f6, and this is mate next move. So very easy victory once my rook became completely passive and his was completely active. Okay, so this was the game. Well, what should I say? First of all, after the game, my opponent congratulated me. He said that I played pretty well, that I gave him much trouble, that he was fighting. The game lasted more than 4 hours. So I was not an easy target for him, although he's 300 points stronger than me. He had to fight, and yeah, this rook d5 was the biggest mistake in the game. I mean, if I just understood that the g file was the most important thing in the position, and that I should bring my rooks on the g file, I don't think he would be able to win the game. It will probably end up in a draw or something. But yeah, my opponent congratulated me. He told me that I play much stronger than my rating is, and that he hopes that by the end of the tournament I will rise up in my rating, that I deserve to be higher rated, and so on. Yeah, this didn't happen. Actually, I fell in rating by the end of the tournament. But okay, he was obviously a gentleman and a good sportsman. So it is on the one hand, it's nice to hear these words of encouragement from your opponent after the game. But I heard these words the game before, and I lost both of the games. So it's a small comfort, but okay, comfort nevertheless. Okay, this will be it for the round 2. I will continue my series, so stay tuned. If you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, leave the comment below in the comment box, and I will see you soon with more chess. Cheers.